Hello, thank you for joining us for a session on expanding your customer base through farmers markets. My name is Mary Ellis. I'm the Beginning Farmer and Rancher Program Director at Community Food and Agriculture Coalition. We also manage and host the FarmLink Montana site. For those who don't know Community Food and Agriculture Coalition, we are a small nonprofit based out of Missoula, but we serve folks all across the state of Montana. We focus on farmland conservation, farmer support, and food access work. In the Beginning Farmer and Rancher program, we work on things like supporting you with developing your farm or ranch business plan or production plan. We can help you find and access land across Montana, access capital and financing, as well as help you access new markets. We also provide lots of networking opportunity for beginning farmers and ranchers all across the state. Today, I am going to talk about helping you expand your customer base through farmers markets. And we're going to talk about four main pieces of that and how this can help you grow your market base. So the first piece is customer research. So one of the cool things about farmers markets is you get to interact directly with your customers frequently. And this is, different than other markets such as wholesale or selling to restaurants and other opportunities. And so because you get that direct interaction, you can do your own customer research, which we definitely recommend for anyone just starting out as a new business, because this helps you figure out who your target customer is. This is the person that, maybe is your most frequent person who's going to buy your product, who you should be marketing and targeting your product to. And you might not know that right away, or you might be surprised on who that person ends up being, or there might be an array of people that are your target customer. And so that time of the farmers market, get to know your customers, talk to them, ask them questions. Who is coming to your stand and buying your product? This can really help you determine what people are drawn to, who's drawn to your product, and learn about your customers firsthand. Kind of an example of this is, say you're a soap producer and you make soap using local products, and you're selling at the farmers market, and you assumed your target customer is someone who wants to support local businesses and wants to source local products. This might be someone in the community that is going to buy from you frequently. But then once talking to your customers at the farmers market and consistently talking to folks who are buying your product and asking them, just some basic questions like, where are you from? What brings you to the market today? You find out that actually a lot of the people that are buying your product are tourists, folks that are coming in just for the week or the weekend and wanting to bring home a little memento or maybe gifts for folks at home. And, locally made soap is a great way to do that. So this may change down the line what other places you sell your product. If you're looking to expand outside of farmers markets, now you may think about maybe instead of selling at the local grocery store down the street that's frequented by locals, maybe you sell at the Montana themed gift shop where a lot of tourists frequent when they visit. So using that time at farmers markets to do a little customer research, figure out who your customer is, can help you decide what other markets you want to sell to down the line. The next piece I want to talk about is product testing. Now, another piece about farmers markets is you get to interact with your customers and see, what they're buying, what they're not buying in a more of a direct way than you can, say, if you're selling to a grocery store, or if you're selling to a shop, you're not going to be able to see that as directly. And so you can test out some products and prices before you, land on a specific product. If you're a value-added producer, you can kind of test out, what if you're making soap or you're making teas or something like that. You can kind of test out what people like, what people don't like, and make quick adjustments rather than making a ton of it, selling it to a wholesale producer, and then figuring out later that it wasn't a good option. You could also do a little bit of quality control here. See what people at markets, for better or for worse, customers at markets can be pretty direct and blunt, and they will tell you if why they're not buying something, or they'll gawk at a price or something. And while you should take this with a grain of salt, because everyone has different preferences, and you want to make sure to continue to value your product and your time, this can help you figure out if, what can you change to lower the price, or maybe you should be hiring the price. Maybe, you're undercutting yourself. And so test out these things, figure out what works well for you. And you can do it at farmers markets, a little bit of a lower risk opportunity, and you can change things week to week. And this helps you figure out what you need to change before you start producing at a larger scale. The next thing I want to talk about is brand development. So there are a lot of folks out there selling a lot of products, both value added and farmers and ranchers selling produce and meat. And so you want to figure out how you can stand out in the midst of all that. And you're also competing with folks out of state, sometimes at grocery stores or shops. And so finding a way for you to stand out a little bit can really help you grow your market. So I always encourage folks at the market to make sure your logo or your brand of your farm or business is really visible, so that people can start associating you with your brand. People may know you, but if your farm name and logo aren't up there, they're not going to be able to recognize that out in the real world. So if you're a farmer and you're selling greens at the local grocery store, if people have seen you at the markets consistently, seen your face and associate you with your logo, they may be more inclined to buy your greens than the greens from out of state that are right next to yours. So having that time to develop yourself as a brand at farmers markets can be really helpful as you're trying to tap into other markets in your community. And it's also a lot of good free advertising while you're also selling your products. So make sure you have a good display with your logo and brand visible. And you could check out our other recording and training on developing a winning display to help you kind of figure that out. Additionally, people get to know you and your brand firsthand. So people love the interaction where they can get to know you and what you're all about, what your practices are and everything. And this can help open up opportunities down the road. So I always ask people, is your farm or business name clearly visible at your stand? And if it's not, how can you make sure that in the future it is? The last thing I want to talk about is determining production capacity. So we kind of hinted at this earlier, but one key piece of farmers markets is that you can actually really test out how much you can realistically produce in a little bit of a lower risk environment. So if you sell wholesale or if you sell to restaurants, you're going to have to commit to a certain amount, or making sure that you are consistent in order to maintain those accounts. Additionally, with say a CSA, as a farmer, you're going to need to make sure that you have enough broccoli every week for all your CSA members, or enough tomatoes every week for your CSA members. So make sure you know how much you can realistically produce and smooth out any production issues or limiting factors before you're under pressure from those wholesale accounts. With farmers markets, you can adapt and change what you're selling each week because people aren't necessarily expecting a specific product every week. So if you don't bring tomatoes one week, it's not the end of the world. So use that opportunity to test out your skills, test out what you can grow well, what maybe things you want to cut, maybe not produce in the future, getting your timing right, knowing when you're going to have tomatoes ready so you can predict those in the future. It's a great first way, first few seasons to test out some of those things. So as we wrap up today, I want to encourage you to think about what market channels are you interested in outside of farmers markets, and how can your time at farmers markets help you get there? Through all these different, key steps, you can test out things, trial things, get to know your customers in a really direct way before you decide what your next steps are and where you want to sell in the future. And I encourage you to, use your time at farmers markets well in that way to help you extend your markets. If you have any questions or need any additional support, we provide lots of support to beginning farmers and ranchers across the state on helping you answer some of these questions about farmers markets and coming up with ideas for your booth, or if you're looking to expand to other markets.